All right, so today we're going to work on direct variation here. I don't really like direct variation a lot. It's easier to use some other things and probably more useful, but it's one of the things you're going to see, and it's in the standards, so we're going to cover it just so you recognize it, and hopefully when you recognize it you can say, hey, I can do this other thing, or maybe even, it's not hard to do, you just have to do it. But so anyway, we've been graphing stuff like this, right? 2x plus 6, and this is our slope, okay? And this is our y-intercept, right? So we start at 6, and then we're going to go up 2 over 1, right? Well, the only difference with direct variation is there is no y-intercept. It's always going to start at 0. So every line that we graph is going to start there. So instead of y equals 2x plus 6, we're going to just have y equals 2x, or whatever slope we need, okay? And so this line would look like this, right? That's basically where we're going to start, okay? So the constant of variation for the direct variation is y equals kx. That's the same exact formula that we've been dealing with, isn't it? Except they're using a different letter. I think we used the letter m for slope, right? We talked about that earlier. M stands for mountain in French, mon. But so anyway, they're going to call it k now. It's not a big deal, but this is k. Okay, our slope and our variation, constant of variation are the same thing. Okay, so if they ask you, all right, what's the constant of variation of this line? You would say k equals 3. Boom, and you're done. Okay, it's the same thing as the slope. All right, so now the main question is they're going to say, all right, if y, touched my screen here, if y varies directly as x, you're going to have this formula, right? Then they're going to say, all right, well, if y equals 6 when x is 10, they're going to ask you to write an equation, a direct variation equation, and then use that equation to find x if y is 20, or they might say find y if x is 20 or something like that, all right? They're just going to give you one and ask for the other. So we start back here, all right? So I got y equals kx, and then I'm going to plug these two guys in where they go. Y is going to go here, and x is going to go here, right? So we're going to have 6 equals k times 10. Well, can I find k? Yeah, I can divide by 10. So k is 6/10 or 3/5. Okay? So now my equation, I'm just going to go back to this. Now I know what k is, right? Okay, so now they say, all right, find x. So wait a minute. Write a direct variation equation. That's this guy right here. This is the direct variation equation. Okay? Now we're going to use that to find x if y is 20. So I'm going to go to another screen here. Y equals 3/5 x, and we're going to find x if y is 20. So now we just plug in 20. Do I have enough information to find x? 20 equals 3/5 x? Yeah, I can get rid of the 3/5 by multiplying, right? So if I multiply by 5/3, this is going to cancel. So I'm left with x over here. And now that's 5 times 20 is 100, and 3 times 1 is 3. So it's 100 over 3, so x is 33.33, because 100 divided by 3 is 33.33. And that's what you're looking for. You'll do the same thing if they switch these two around. Okay, if they say find y if x is 20, then we do something, well, we do the same thing, but we plug it in for x instead, and that's a little bit easier. So I'll do one more here. Let's say if y is 7 when x is 12, find y if x is 17, something like that. All right, so we'd start again with this, and we plug in our numbers. So if I divide by 12, k is going to be 7/12. So now I have my formula. Okay, and now, this time all I got to do is plug in 17. So this value is going in here. So y equals 7/12 times 17 over 1. Now this is going to be I chose bad numbers here, but that's fine. It'll still work. It's just going to be a weird number. So 7 times 17 is 119 over 12. So 119 divided by 12 is 9.92. So y is 9.92. And there's my answer. Okay? Now, to me, it's a lot easier to do this by proportion. All right? We did this with boys and girls, I think, one day. And so we'd go, all right, boys to girls is boys to girls. Didn't we set it up like that? The y to the x is the y to the x. And then we cross multiply. So 7 times, oh, look at that. I took 7 times 17, didn't I, down here? And then I'm going to divide by 12, aren't I? So I'm still going to get the same answer. So, like I said, this is a lot easier. I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like direct variation, but it's useful in some instances, and you're going to see it, so we need to be prepared for it. So know that you can do the proportion. It'll work as a proportion, but you still are going to have to find this equation sometimes. Okay, and so we need to know that for that reason, because we want to be able to make that equation. Okay, but that's all really it is. Good luck.